Hello guys, I have a question. What is the third form of verbs in English? Some of my students think that this is a future form, or it's used only in perfect tenses. These and other questions I want to answer in today's video, so watch till the end to find out. You see, in English, we have regular and irregular verbs, and all of them have three forms. V1, first form, V2, and V3. Now, first form is also called base form or infinitive. These are words as go, write, eat, and it's used in present simple and future simple. I go, I will go, right? Now, V2, second form, it's past simple, right? Words like went, wrote, ate, yeah? And it's used only in past simple. For example, she ate yesterday, right? Now, what about V3, or as we call it, past participle? These are words like gone, written, eaten, okay? So it's the most versatile form. We use it in many different cases in English. For example, we use it in all perfect tenses. We also use it in passive voice and as an adjective. So let's break it down and understand a bit more. What is the third form? Let's see some examples, okay? And understand how to use this form in English. So, why this form is essential? As I said, it's used in many different structures, and we'll see these structures just in a bit, okay? So, it's used in, number one, perfect tenses, right? We use it to show experience, duration, or completed time, okay? For example, I've completed this project, right? Now, it's also used in passive voice, and in passive voice, we what? We focus on action, yeah? Not on who did this action. It's either not interesting for us or we don't know. So we focus on the action, okay? Like the homework was done, okay? That's passive voice. And third form, or past participle, can be also used as an adjective. And we use adjectives to describe nouns, okay? So, let's talk more about perfect tenses. As you know, we have present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect. In all of them, we actually use V3. Or the second name of these form is what? Past participle, right? Okay, so present perfect. We use it for life experiences, recent events, and results that affect the present. For example, I have finished the chapter. Okay, that's present perfect. Then, past perfect. Formula is the following: had plus V3. So you have to add had and any verb in third form, right? We use past perfect to describe what? An action completed before another action in the past, okay? For example, she had left before I arrived, okay? Now, the last one is future perfect. The formula is simple: will have and V3. We use it to describe an action that will be completely finished by a specific time in the future, okay? For example, we will have written the report by tomorrow. By that time tomorrow, the report will have been written. So we will have written the report, right? Okay, that's about perfect tenses. And most students stop there. They think that, okay, that's where we use third form and that's it. But no, third form of verbs, by the way, both regular and irregular, is used also in passive voice. In fact, V3 is used in all tenses of passive voice in English, right? So the passive voice always combines a form of be, like is, was, are, been, etc., with the third form, V3, okay? We use the passive voice when the action is more important, as I said, than the person who's doing this action, who performed it, yeah? Or when the actor is unknown. So when you don't know who did it, or when you are not interested in that, you use passive voice, yeah? And here you have to use V3. For example, let's look at it. Passive voice in simple passive, yeah? Simple tense. is or was, depending on present or past, and plus V3. For example, the report is written weekly. We don't care who writes the report, maybe we don't know who writes the report, so we say the report is written weekly, okay? And we focus what? The writing of the report is the focus, right? We focus on the writing, not on the fact who did it, right? Then perfect passive, all like perfect tenses, yeah, like for present perfect it's going to be has been, for past perfect had been, plus V3. For example, the decision has been made. Very typical expression in English. The decision has been made, and we don't know who made the decision, or we don't care who made this decision. So the finality of the decision is the focus, that it's done, it's made, okay? And continuous passive. Here, a very interesting one, we add verb to be and the word being to communicate this continuous action, right? Or was being plus V3, third form, of course, yeah? For example, a new road is being built. So it's in the process of building, so it is being built. But we don't care who is building it, or we don't know who's doing that action, right? So the ongoing action is the focus in this case, okay? So that's about passive voice. Now you know already, yeah, that third form of verbs in English can be used in perfect tenses and in passive voice, right? Stick till the end of this video and you will find out more about the third form of irregular and regular verbs. So as you see here, it's also used as an adjective. Now, not all of the forms are used like that, you know, not all the verbs can do that, but the verbs such as break or cook can be used as adjectives. So the past participle or third form of the verb, yeah, I always show like this because I imagine it as V, but of course third form, right? Not second. So the past participle or third form of the verb can act as an adjective, yeah, to describe a noun, usually showing the result of some kind of action, right? So if you look at the list here, you will see, yeah, a broken window. So somebody broke that window and it's a broken window. It's a third form of the verb to break. Same here, a cooked meal. The result of an action of the verb cook. Somebody cooked it, so it's a cooked meal. Now, the verb became an adjective by adding ed and creating a third form, or if it's an irregular verb, just taking the third form and using it as an adjective. Couple more examples. A written rule, or maybe unwritten rule, yeah? Quite common collocation in this case. Fixed phrase. In this case, the result of the action write, okay? A written rule. And the last one, a tired student. Now we have the verb to tire someone or to exhaust, yeah? So tired, it's a third form of the verb tire. Tire is a regular verb, so in this case we just add ed, yeah? And tired becomes an adjective. Now let's look at the regular and irregular verbs when it comes to these forms, okay? So regular verbs, it's kind of easy, right? The V2, past simple, and the V3, past participle, forms are the same, okay? So for example, play, played, played, right? Then work, worked, worked. Very simple. Add ed and you get that second and third form. Now with irregular verbs, it's a bit more difficult. You have to memorize it. And I always tell my students, check the word list, the verbs. Irregular verbs, they usually come in lists of 3 columns. I recorded a video about that. Some of you guys already watched that video. I will link that video in the description. It's a complete guide to all 3 forms, all irregular verbs, okay? So with these verbs, it's a bit more difficult because we cannot add ed. That's why they are called irregular, and we must learn them in groups of 3. For example, go, went, gone. What is the past participle here? That's the word gone. Now, write, wrote, written. What is the past participle here? It's the word written. The third form, obviously, right? And the last one, break, broke, broken. And that is broken, third form of the verb break, okay? Now let's review some common mistakes. As I told you, many of my students think that if first form is present and then second form is past, then logically third form is future, but it's not true, of course. You already know that third form is a very versatile form and can be used in several grammar structures. By the way, my question is, after we reviewed everything, where do we use third form of the verbs? Let me know. Yes, we use it in perfect tenses, we use it in passive voice, and we also use it as an adjective, okay? So what are the common mistakes? Let's look at those. For example, some students say, I have went, but of course it's present perfect, so we should say, I have gone, right? Then some learners say, it was wrote. In passive voice, they use second form. No, in passive voice, we have to use third form. So correct would be, it was written, right? Now, I am finished. Finished, it's an adjective, right? So we need to put it in this third form as finished. I am finished. Or, very often we hear, I am done. I'm done. Yeah, it means that I've completed this action, right? Another mistake is confusing V3 with future. As I mentioned already, yes, absolutely. The past participle is always related to completion or past time. So just remember that V3 is never used alone to show future. And the last mistake is forgetting have, has, or had. Yes, very often. Every perfect tense must have an auxiliary verb, like a helping verb to form these tense, right? So we cannot say just I written. Yes, very often students just forget to add have, has, or had to form the perfect tense, yeah? Don't forget that as well, okay? Now, let's have some practice, okay, guys? Together, let's practice these three forms just as we did in the irregular verbs video. I want to remind you that this video will be attached in the description to this video, right? Okay, so essential examples to master. Let's learn these 10 irregular verbs in their complete form, three forms together. Remember, as I said in the irregular verbs video, just pick up a marker and create some kind of rhythm. It's easier to learn these verbs in a rhythm, okay? Let's do it together. Repeat after me. I say first, you go after me. Let's go. Go, went, gone. Do, did, done. Write, wrote, written. Choose, chose, chosen. Speak, spoke, spoken. Break, broke, broken. Drive, drove, driven. Eat, ate, eaten. Give, gave, given. Take, took, taken. And as you can see, guys, the third column represents past participle, V3. Now, think about how many of these verbs in the third column out of 10 verbs can be used as adjectives. And if you can, write a few examples in the comments using that third form out of those 10 verbs in the form of an adjective. Okay? I'll read your comments and I'll reply if that is correct, okay? Now, let's review some final takeaways, yeah? So, very important. Review the common mistakes. They are called common for a reason because lots of students make them. Remember that third form of regular and irregular verbs is used as what? In perfect tenses, in passive voice, and as an adjective, right? Okay. So, The third form is essential for expressing experience, results, completed actions, and passive meaning because it's used in all of those structures, yeah? Daily repetition and real-life examples will help you internalize the V3 or past participle naturally. I would do the following. I would learn the irregular verbs. I would also check whether the verb is regular or irregular, learn all of them nicely, and then start using slowly as you learn the verbs, use them in present simple, past simple, and third form using those three structures we mentioned, okay? So guys, thank you for watching this video. I will attach that irregular verbs video in the description. And if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe for more English videos. I'll record many videos soon. Actually, I am having a challenge with my friend to upload 100 useful videos. So if you want to see all of them, stay here, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.